Looks like we're live. We're ready.
Okay. Good.
Oops. Lawrence, you there? You're muted.
It is Friday and the end of October. I don't know where the heck time goes. It flies. It flies quicker than, and the older you get, the quicker it goes anyway. Just the bad news for everybody, because when you get to my age, it really goes quickly. So we started last week, we were talking about people with a growth mindset think in these 10 unique ways. And last time we covered 2. The effort as a path to mastery, and mistakes are not failures, they're lessons. Those were the topics of last week. And today, of course, the slaughterhouse of failure is not in our destiny. We shall persevere until we succeed. Or, that's Og Mandino, or the slaughterhouse of failure is in our destiny if we give up. We have the choice. So today, we're going to talk about more things in this 10 unique ways of growth mindset. And what today is challenges are exciting, not daunting. And the other subject is embrace change. So I think I'd just kick it off in a sec here. And I would say the following. When we talk about challenges are exciting, not daunting, I've always talked to young people who are just going into the workforce or into working for a living and coming out of their homes and so on with maybe a degree or not. And I would say to them, look at this blank white wall. What do you see? And they will say, oh, it's just a wall. It's just a blank wall. And I will say, perfect. That's your future. That's your future. There's nothing in it. It's up to you what you want to put in it. You've got to choose your future. You've got to choose your destiny, what it is you want. Paint the picture of your future. What is it? You can timidly put something in it and walk, timorously with not being secure of yourself, or you can boldly run towards your future and find something that will fuel your ambition, desire for this. We look at life and we think it's either, either we can or we can't do it. Either way, whatever the challenge is, we're right. If we say we can, we can. If we say we can't, we can't. But we've got to fuel our ambition and desire for success with motivation. And I've always said the size of the challenge is directly proportional to the emotion with which we view it. If we think it's a massive problem, then it will be. If you think, it's just a little hurdle, then it's a little hurdle. So your choice, whether something is going to excite you and drive you or slow you down to be mundane, boring, security, zone of mediocrity. Only you can determine if you want to run or you want to walk. But you've got to look at the challenge as something exciting, as something that is motivating. So who are you? Which one are you? Are you cautious and timorous? Do you have temerity about going forward? Or are you sure of yourself? So, when we drive, just an example, we drive at night in an unlit road, 70 miles an hour. We can't see more than whatever number of feet or yards ahead, but we still, because we've got that confidence that there is a road. We've got the confidence that even though we can't see it, we're going to get there. When we can't see what is around the corner, we're still going fast. And it's because of our belief in our driving skills. It's a belief in the fact that, and there is a road in this life too. and challenges should something that is exciting. Dan always talks about climbing mountains. You know, that's for him is a challenge. It drives the adrenaline. It's not a daunting thing. So that's why I think we've got to understand what a possibility that we have, and the dream will eclipse the pain of not doing.
Yeah, you brought up that last week we talked about, people with a growth mindset are very driven to put in maximum effort, to take massive action, to do whatever they need for mastery, right? And we talked about, mistakes are not failures, they're lessons. And the thing about failures is that it's not a permanent condition. It's how you look at it. You either fail or you don't fail, so it's not permanent. It comes and goes very quickly, but you have to be up to the challenge, and you have to be willing to take risks and make mistakes. And it's all about how you look at it. Are you embracing failure as an opportunity to learn? Are you embracing challenges, and do you see them as something that is exciting? And are you embracing change?
We didn't find anything.
These things can either be, I'm going to mute Jim quick. These things can either be daunting, they can be a limit to your success, or they can be a part of your success. It's all in your mindset, and having this growth mindset. There's another great Carol Dweck quote about challenges. She said, in a growth mindset, challenges are exciting rather than threatening. So rather than thinking, oh, I'm going to reveal my weakness, you say, wow, here's a chance to grow. So are you looking at challenges as something that could potentially reveal your weakness, or are you looking at challenges as something that could potentially show your strengths, right? For me, challenges show my strength. It shows my ability to overcome it, think outside the box to get past, daunting challenges. And I'm always embracing change. Change is inevitable. It's going to happen each and every day, minute of every day, no matter what you do. You can't stop it. So you might as well embrace it. And change, and being an entrepreneur, change is an inevitable part of that process. You're going to have to change each and every single day. You're going to have to work on your self-improvement, your mindset. You're going to have to learn new skills that you didn't potentially have before. You're going to, need to learn accounting and time management and all these different things that you need to do to be successful. And so, you need to find challenges exciting, not scary, and embrace them. These challenges, if you don't embrace them, you're going to hit a wall. Don't let them intimidate you. See them as exciting. Look at them as a puzzle to be solved to help you be more successful.
Don't stagnate. And so on the part of the change, I was thinking, the things that have changed dramatically. For example, I've just come back from Italy. I was there for nearly a month. And I thought about the kitchen, the food. The kitchen for me is a transitory area in my house. It's not somewhere that I'd like to demur. It's a transitory area because I don't like to cook. I know nothing about cooking, don't want to know anything about cooking. But I'm a foodie. I love food. And I was thinking, the French started some years ago with something called La Nouvelle Cuisine, which is the new kitchen. And when you go around in Europe now and the food that there is, it's so ambitiously interesting, changed from the traditional way of bangers and mash, as we used to call them at home, steak and potatoes. I mean, now even the steak is going to be prepared in a way that's going to be feast for your eyes, and it's going to be a smell for you. It's going to help your olfactory glands. It's going to incite a feast in your mind of what you're eating. And the portions are now minuscule compared to what we have in the States. But there's several servings. So when we look at change and we say embrace change, you know, I'm just thinking about how you change the palate of an entire nation. When the Nouvelle Cuisine came out, people say, oh my gosh, are you kidding? Look, it's only a little piece like this. But we get to appreciate the change. We get to embrace the change, to see what's really interesting about that change. So that's something that, you know, they've created new dishes, new tastes. And on a different example, embracing the change is going from a W-2 to a 1099. This is a big one. This is where we all are. We're all on a 1099. And that's a huge change from being on a W-2. But we've got to embrace the change. We've got to embrace the fact that it's now up, if it's up to me. If it's to be, it's up to me. Rather than if it's to be, it's up to the company to kind of drag me along. So, you know, the way we see things now in a 1099 is so different. You know, we were directed to do things. We were told what to do. We were told when to do them. Had a security, job security. Really? Doesn't exist anymore. That's a dramatic change. When I was a kid, we used to joke about, you know, people being in a company from womb to tomb. You were always in that company because you were going to be there. Your job was secure. It's not anymore. So now, you know, we've gone from having a check every 2 weeks when we had a job in a W-2 to maybe not having an income of any kind for maybe 2 months. But we've got to be prepared for that because we know that it's a much bigger prize on the long term than in these little tips we get every 2 weeks that are on a W-2. Sorry. So it's important that we embrace the change. We look at all the positive things. We're now free to be able to use our minds. In fact, I don't know if I think it was Dan or we were talking this week about education system. Excuse me, that they took a class of 10 small kids, and this was a study that they did at some university, and they wanted to see how many were geniuses. And they found that out of the 10, like 8 were geniuses. And then they took those same kids who had been at school for a little bit, and they wanted to see how many geniuses were there. And from 8, it gone down to like 6. Then they looked at these kids again who'd been in school for a number of years, and the geniuses had gone down to like 2, because we're suppressing our creativity, our brain. We're suppressing our enthusiasm for stuff by falling into a routine of what we're told to do. So when we can have the opportunity to look at something that's dramatically different, that's a big change. Embrace it, love it, find something that will give you passion in it.
Yeah, you know, turning obstacles into opportunities. You know, how do you look at obstacles? Do you look at them as something that is meant to discourage your passion, your success, or do you look at them as an opportunity to learn? You know, and the same goes for change. You know, change is not a threat. It's an opportunity to learn and adapt. Right? You know, years ago before ride sharing, I woke up in the morning, one morning. I think I woke up late. I was supposed to be at the hospital at 6:30. I woke up maybe at like 6:30, 6:45. And I run out to my car, I jump in the car, and it won't start. And, you know, this is before ride sharing. So what do? You know, I grabbed what I needed for the day. I put it in a backpack. I hopped on my bike and I started pedaling as fast as I possibly could. And it's not far. It's 3 or 4 miles. to the hospital, but that one little obstacle turned into me starting to ride there instead of driving every single day because I was getting exercise. So I was turning that into that obstacle, that single obstacle, into an opportunity to get more exercise. And you know, I embraced it and turned it into something that I could make a positive. And so, you know, when we're hit with these obstacles, when we're hit with these challenges, your mindset becomes of paramount importance. You know, how do we look at these obstacles? Do we look at, you know, do we embrace them, or do we run away from them because we look at it as something to fear? You know, people who are going to remain stagnant look at it as something that they should fear, you know, rather than something that they should learn from, that they should overcome, that they should look at it as a challenge, think outside the box, move forward. You know, in this business, people see a lot of things as a challenge, as an obstacle. You know, hey, it's $2,600 to get started to get the HCP kit. It's $140 a month to rent, you know, lease the scanner. You know, these are all things that people use as obstacles and excuses to not do the business. You know, they get excited about it, they love what we're doing, but the second they see that, oh, this is a business that I'm actually going to have to run, you know, that's another obstacle, you know, that they throw out there that they can't overcome. You know, what am I going to have to do the accounting? Am I going to have to do this? Am I going to have to manage employees? You know, all of these different things. People want to be entrepreneurs, but they don't want to do the work to be an entrepreneur. They don't have the fortitude to deal with the obstacles. They don't have the fortitude to put in the effort that they need to master being an entrepreneur. And you're never going to master it, but the goal is to learn something from it every single day and better yourself. You know, I tell people this all the time. My goal in life is to be better tomorrow than I am today. How am I going to do that? What can I do today that's going to make me a better person tomorrow? Whether it's, you know, in business, as a husband, as a father, you know, what are those things that I can do that make me better? So, you know, those are all obstacles, but it's how do we look at those obstacles? How do we move past those obstacles and those challenges and embrace the change of an obstacle or a challenge? You know, that's just that's, you know, an obstacle or a challenge means we have to change the way that we're doing something, right? And so these two are kind of intertwined. And then, you know, there's always something changing in business. There's always something changing, you know, with the way we're doing the business. You know, COVID came along and we were doing a lot of three-way calls just on the phone. And then all of a sudden we jumped into Zoom and learned how to do Zoom and, you know, all of these different things that we're utilizing today on a daily basis because the obstacle of COVID challenged us. We had to put in maximum effort and change to meet the, you know, to respond to what we were forced to be doing at the time. So how are you looking at these obstacles, these challenges and change? Think about it.
So, you know, I like to joke and say I'm perfect in my imperfection. I like to joke about that because obviously I'm not. But so I've just signed up to do a course, intensive course in learning about LinkedIn. And I thought, you know, so we know what LinkedIn is. Yeah, we know. No, we don't. Well, I didn't. So I'm looking at that and I'm saying I have been on LinkedIn for a long time. I've kind of dabbled in that and I've had a little relative success and we've actually done quite well with it and whatever. And then I thought about it and I thought, am I really good at LinkedIn? And I'm not. Am I really getting the best that I can out of LinkedIn? No. Why? Because I'm ignorant. I don't know enough about it. So for me, the challenge was I need to be very good at whatever I do in my life. I like to do that. If I do something, I like to be good at it. So now I've just signed up for this LinkedIn thing, this LinkedIn course. It's intensive, it's expensive, but I want to be really good at that. And that for me is a challenge because it's going to take a bunch of time out of my day, but in the long run, it's going to be a very good excuse me, it's going to give me some very good results. And I know that in my mind already. I'm visualizing huge success. I'm visualizing a TED talk. I'm visualizing all kinds of positive things to come out of this, because this is what I aspire to do. But in order to do that, I've got to embrace the changes which are uncomfortable. Sometimes a lot of these changes that we embrace, initially are not that comfortable at all. And Martin just put something here about the lady from Spanx, Sarah Blakely. And, the father would say, how many things did you fail at today at the dinner table? And we always talk about saying we've got to fail our way to the top. The more failures you have, the more you learn, the better you become, the stronger you become. We always, when I was a kid, they used to say every time you fail, it was part of your personality, the growth of your personality. You grow from failures. So this is something that I'm excited about. I'm excited about doing something new for me. I'm excited about really getting good at something that I'm mediocre at right now. That's how I'm looking at it. I'm looking and I'm saying, I'm going to be a bloody expert in this thing. And I'll pass it on to my team, to everybody. Whatever I learn, that's what it's about. Sharing, giving back. That's what's exciting for me. The change where I can then say, this is what I got. Here, if anybody wants it, help yourself.
Yeah, so you talk about being perfectly in your imperfections. I have a quote on my wall that I look at multiple times a day, and it says, I myself am entirely made of flaws stitched together with good intentions.
There you go.
So, we all have strengths, we all have weaknesses. You have to be able to identify your weaknesses, identify your strengths, do the things that you do well, and work on the things that you don't do well, because we're all flawed. But I think everybody on this call, we all have good intentions, right? We're here because we want to help other people get healthier. We want to help physicians drive the ancillary revenue. Whatever your reasons are for being here, it could be financial, but the good thing about this team is that we have people on here that have strengths that we don't have. So we can lean on others within the team for their strengths, and they can lean on us for our strengths. And we can be more successful as a team, and kudos to Lawrence for, seeing that, one of his flaws is he's not good on LinkedIn, but he's doing something to improve that. He's putting in the effort, which we talked about last week, to try and master that one thing that he's not good at. And that's the whole recruiting part of this. And when I say that's going to be a challenge for Lawrence, I mean, that's going to be a challenge because, he talks about it all the time. He's not good on computers, but he's embracing it. He's embracing that obstacle that he knows he needs to overcome to be more successful in this business, right? And they're two of his nemesis, LinkedIn and technology. And he's willing to do what he needs to do and put in the effort to overcome that challenge and embrace the change that he needs to make to be more successful and master LinkedIn and learn more about it and learn how he can be more effective on it. I mean, I think that's something that we can all learn from, and we all need to probably get better on LinkedIn. But when I say, the traditional way of recruiting on LinkedIn is, do you look for additional opportunities? And, maybe we've been going about it the wrong way. Maybe we need to start creating a relationship with these people before we, ask them if they want to get involved in a business with us. I mean, if you send out a message to 1,000 people that says, I love your LinkedIn profile, I was very intrigued. Do you look at different business, are you open to new business opportunities? They don't know anything about you. They don't know you. Get to know those people first. Look through their profile, see something interesting, comment on that. Watch, see if they post. Look at some of their posts. It's on their profile. Get to know them. Don't go to them first thing trying to sell them an opportunity. You know, try to develop a relationship. I made a concerted effort about a month ago. I said, I'm going to reach out personally to one person on LinkedIn a day and try and make a connection with them. Look at those people who have their phone number on their profile and reach out to them. Leave them a video message. You know, hey, I'm Dan. I was looking at your profile. I saw some of your posts. I was very intrigued about what you're talking about. I'd love to know more. You know, do you have time for a 5 or 10 minute call? I know you're probably super busy. Love to learn more about you. Get to know people before you offer them an opportunity to become one of your partners.
100%. It's about
challenge yourself to get to know these people.
It's about being interested and not interesting. If you're interested, then you have a much better chance because there's an empathy there that you care. You care about what the other person is that you're talking to. Who are you talking to? Why are you talking to them? You know, what can you learn from that person? And the other thing is, the thing that is what I call a big bridge is one of the biggest bridges we have is the intention to the action. We all have good intentions to do stuff, but we've got to bridge it to make it into an action. And until we make that into an action, it's just an intention. It's that old story of the 5 frogs on the lily pad. One of them, out of the 5, one of them decides he wants to jump in. How many frogs are left? And the answer is 5. Because until he's actually jumped in, he's just have the intention of doing it. You know, he's just decided to do it, but he hasn't done it. So, yeah, we've got to put into action the intentions we have and look at, like Dan's doing now. I think that's a great idea. Talk to one person a day. That's 300 and some a year that you can learn from. We only need 6 to be leaders in a team. So 6.
Yeah, it can be a more organic conversation, you know. Show interest in what they're doing first.
Yes.
And they're going to ask you what you do. And you start talking about this new innovative technology that we can measure antioxidants in the skin in 30 seconds non-invasively. And we have medical grade nutraceuticals that are guaranteed to increase your score. They're going to ask more questions, right? They're going to show an interest in what you're doing. And that's not selling them, that's just educating.
And actually, quite frankly, the way things are right now, we have a Rolls Royce with a Ferrari engine. And it's the best vehicle I can think of. We've got an entire buffet of products. We've got a company that is rated among the 100 most trustworthy mid-cap companies in the US by Forbes. Who the hell is trustworthy? We are. Our company is. Got a proven track record. Got a 5A1 rating on the stock market. Look around. Where is everybody else? We've got something that really inspires confidence. We've just got to present it right. We've got to know our strength. We've got to know what we can offer. Most people, not most, many people are fumbling in the dark, looking for something different, looking for something better, looking for something new, looking for some additional income or more time or less stress. We can offer all these things, but we've got to know what we got.
In the case of physicians, they may be looking for a way to help improve the health of their patients. When we talked about our Tuesday night team call, Chris Watson brought on a big orthopedic group. And the leader of that orthopedic group had been looking for something. And Chris just happened to have a connection to this orthopedic physician who he showed this to. And he's like, I've been looking for this. I didn't know what to offer my patients. There's not another company out there that can test and measure whether their products work. You guys can do that. This is perfect. right? And so if you're not having those conversations, but Chris got to know this physician really, really well. It wasn't just always selling him the scanner and the supplements. He was selling himself, that he was capable of helping the doctor integrate this into his practice, that he was an astute business person that understood how not only the money worked, but how the business works. So he's selling his knowledge base on what we're doing, not necessarily selling the scanner or the supplements. Start trying to sell yourself a little bit. I don't think people do that enough. I don't want to go into business with somebody that I don't know. And then think about it, people on your team. How well do you know the people on your team? I make phone calls to people on my teams every day and just say, hey, I was thinking about you. Or I send them a text. Some Fridays I send a text out to everybody and say, hey, thanks for everything that you're doing. I really appreciate you taking the time to work on this and be successful. Are you doing things like that? It's a challenge because it takes time. And it's a change from what you normally do. It's a daily routine. Make that part of your habits. Thanking people, calling people, reconnecting with people, letting them know that you care. It's important.
We discussed this on Tuesday. Chris Watson took over 2 years to land the deal that he landed. 2 years of constantly, hi, how are you? What's going on? Let's go and play golf or whatever it was. But it was selling himself, as Dan just said. 2 years, and the results are amazing. It's a huge, huge possibility that he's got right now. Or it's already done, but started. So it's a question of, we talk a whole different subject now, but patience and long-term things and so on. Anyway, we're over time. Dan, if you've got any other closing shots, or if anybody wants to make a comment or anything, please, let's hear it. Nobody got anything to say?
Yes, I want to say that I'm very grateful for you two hosting this call every Friday. I think it's a wonderful call. It really helps with mindset, and I really appreciate you doing this. And I'm looking forward to seeing you both next week.
Thank you.
Thank you, Martin.
So thank you, Martin. By the way, next week we're going to be talking about, where is it? We'll be talking about the value, the journey more than the destination, and always stay curious. Those are the next 2 subjects for next week. Value the journey.
Hey, you two. I just want to say thanks for the update on LinkedIn. I love what you said, Dan, about, get to know them first on LinkedIn. Do they have a phone? Go outside of your box. And that's what I need to do, get out of my comfort zone. I'm just trying to connect with them and see if they connect back. Instead, call them. So thank you. That was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, think about these people on this call. We see people on this call every single week. How well do we know the people on this call? Reach out to somebody that's on this call. Make that your next call. Reach out to one person. Reach out to Cash this week. Say, hey, Cash, I want to know more about you. Get to know.
I appreciate that.
All right.
I love it. Thanks, you guys. See you next week.
Cash, I want you to call. Cash, call me this week.
Right. I need your number.
I'll send it to you. I'll get your number. We'll talk.
Beauty.
All right. Awesome.
Cheers. Blessings, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Guys.
Thanks, guys.
See you in Utah.
Thanks, guys. See you there.